Hello everybody, it is May 5th. Last episode I was working on, I was like trying to figure out exactly what picture to use, or like frame to use for the cover, right? Thumbnail. That's what they're called. I was like, because there's only so much you can do if you're using the same, scenes, the same, sitting in the same chair, doing the same thing, unless you do something extremely especially if it has to do with whatever video you do. Probably didn't help that I was definitely tired. So it's always interesting to these little things that you learn over time. I wonder, what's my next video going to do? What's the next thing I'm going to do? And, but we'll see, Like I said, there's going to definitely be days where I'm just like, so today, again, was a sleepy day. You're seeing a pattern here, right? Though I think the big thing was that Christina is still working to catch herself back up. When Christina has a hard night, it snowballs. And it's one of the things that makes getting up early and staying awake all day hard. Because then, if she gets up and it's late and it's dark outside, that's when it really starts hitting her. I think there's also a little bit of issue. She doesn't have as much ability to get herself to go to sleep when she wants to go to bed. Which is me saying something, because I literally have to just wait for my body to go, okay, you can go to bed. But I'm also fully aware of, if I'm not careful, I will keep myself awake. But anyway, that's all well and good. I am anxious because at some point I'm going to have to get appointments at the doctor's office. And that has always been a tough thing for me. But let's get on to today's topic. Today I want to talk about free will. Not Free Willy, that's a movie, but free will. Is Free Willy a pun on free will? I never thought of that. Also, I was a little kid, when I watched it. I only remember little itty bitty parts of that movie. It's been so long. Anyway. So, I personally believe in God. And I believe that God wants us to have free will. But what does free will entail, and how does it relate to the Bible as well as the way the world is right now? Especially in terms of those who believe in God. Well, to understand that, we have to understand what free will is and how it functions. Step number 1. Free will, there has to be a choice. You have to have at least two different paths. Step number 2, or part number 2, or whatever. Criteria 2. These choices have to be actual choices. In other words, they can't be superficial. They can't be, basically, you can't just lead to the same point. It can't be something like, is your car red or green? Right? Which brings us to part 3. They have to have weight to them. There has to be a certain amount of importance. There has to be a certain amount of importance within the decision, right? This can't be something that you blow off. It has to be something that you have the possibility of thinking about the consequences of. Whether you choose to think that far ahead or not, you still have to be able to if you choose to. Which brings us to step, I'm going to guess it's 4. Though it can't be a fake choice, right? It can't be an ultimatum. AKA, there has to be a reason to choose both options. You can't have it be this one's good and only good things and all good things and only good things, and this has only bad things. There has to be a reason to decide between the two options, to think about it and decide which one you want. 5. Assuming I didn't miscount. The consequences have to be long-term and permanent. And they don't necessarily always have to be foreseeable. At least some of them have to, or it kind of underwrites the choice, decision. There has to be consequences, long-term consequences that aren't just, oops, you made a mistake here, let me rewind time and get you another chance. No, consequences are permanent. When you make a decision to wreck your car, you don't have somebody magically go back and prevent you from doing it. So here we go. Let's see, was there another part to that? Or if I got all the parts. Give me a second. There has to be, so let's go over again. There has to be at least 2 choices. The 2 choices have to be different from each other and lead to different paths. The choices have to have weight to them. The choices also have to have consequences, long-term consequences, some in which you can see and some that you don't. And they have to have a reason to choose both ways. Now, it's also important that you always have an opportunity for choice. Maybe not always as in all the time, every moment of every day, in every single situation, and stuff like that. But an active ability to choose a different path. Which means, again, we follow the rules of free will. So, if God wants us to have free will, and He wants us to choose Him based on free will, He is always going to have a bit of something, some amount of something, so that way we can choose to turn away or choose to believe in Him. That is one of the essence and pieces to the puzzle of the way the world works. We are dealing with the consequences of other people's actions. Those consequences can't be undone. So many of the negative things in the world are consequences of other people's actions that we cannot undo because that would undo their free will. Of course, there's more to this, and at some point I'll go through and talk a little bit more about the beginning of the world in terms of as a Christian, in my belief. But I think that's probably enough for today. So, here's me looking for the path and which way to go. So maybe I will use this for my what's it called? frame for title, frame for frame, thumbnail, thumbnail.